Hello artists, my name is Adrienne Munger and I'm an artist and art educator living in Maine. Today I'm going to show you how to use a type of modeling clay called Model Magic. You can use any kind of modeling clay that you have at home or that you can find at a store near you. I like to use the Model Magic clay because it's an air dry clay, and that means it doesn't have to be heated up in the oven. It means you can let it dry overnight and then it'll be firm enough for you to paint on or decorate however you would like to after that. So I'm going to show you how to make little creatures using the Model Magic. You can use your modeling clay however you'd like to, though. You can make a little critter like what I'm going to make, or you can use your imagination and make a sculpture that you would like to make. So let's go ahead and get started. The supplies you are going to need are some modeling clay, which I have some Model Magic here. You're also going to need to find something in your house, either a toothpick or something like a toothpick, like a dull pencil would work really well. Something that you can use to make indents in your clay to use as a texture tool. So like on this little critter that I made earlier, I used the toothpicks to make little lines in the clay like that. So find something that would work around your house to make some texture in your clay. And let's go ahead and get started on making a new critter. So I have a small ball of my modeling clay. I like to warm it up in my hands, just like I would do with using like a stoneware clay if I was using clay, regular clay that wasn't modeling clay. And I like to feel out what shape I'd like to make this clay into. I'm just going to start playing with the clay and I'm going to see what animal I'm inspired to make. Now that I'm happy with the shape I made, I'm going to go ahead and use a texture tool like this toothpick, and I'm going to start making some textures into this shape. And for this little creature, I think I'm doing some kind of little owl creature. I really like to make birds. So I'm making this little owl. So I think I'm going to use my texture tool to make maybe some designs that look a little bit like feathers. So I'm using a toothpick to poke into the clay and also press into the clay with the side of it and kind of rub to get lines. So since I've decided to do like this little owl form, I'm making some lines and texture that resemble feathers. I have gone in and made eyes using my toothpick tool, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep adding more texture to my little clay creature. Now that I've added some texture, you can see the shape of my clay has kind of changed a little bit from when I started. It's starting to get longer because of the way I'm holding it. So you can go back in and you can play with the form of your clay again and keep moving it to how you would like the shape of your animal. I also noticed that my little critter, I kind of want this little critter to have some kind of little tail, so I'm adding that right now. It's fun to just play with the clay and sort of see what kind of textures you can make and what kind of shape you'd like. I'm feeling pretty happy with this little critter, kind of some kind of little owl character, I'm not sure. I like to use my imagination, think of sometimes little make-believe critters. They don't have to exactly look like they could be in real life. Now that I feel like this critter is complete, I'm going to leave this clay out to air dry overnight. So I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to let this dry overnight. So now I'm going to take a critter that has already dried overnight. This little mouse critter has already sat overnight, so it is not as soft as it was when I made it yesterday, and I'm going to think of some materials around my house that I can use to decorate this critter. Of course, you can always leave your clay white, and I really like how the white clay actually looks. Or maybe you have some colored modeling clay you're using and you don't want to decorate it, and that's completely fine. I'll show you some ideas of things I have at home, which I will use to decorate this critter. So I have a watercolor set here to use, and I also have some just regular Crayola markers. Let's go ahead and get started on decorating this little mouse. So I really like using the markers on the dried Model Magic, especially if you've put in some texture, because you can kind of see how the texture stays white where you made the indents into the clay, and the marker you're putting on top is only touching the parts of the clay that are raised. So the parts you pushed in stay this really nice white color, and I really like how that looks with the marker. So even if you don't have paint at home, but you have markers, that's a great way to color your little clay creature that you made. So I'm going to keep coloring with this marker, and then I'm going to try some of the watercolor paint to see how that works. So this critter has now been decorated, and once the watercolor dries, I could even go back and put in some more marker on top of this critter. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.